Hey guys, Scott here, and today I want to talk about the Judgement, the community design next killer coming to DBD from the Grimoire. There is a very, very big issue with the killer. I'm loving her. I think she's very fun to play and very, very fun to try to master the crazy stuff that you can actually do with this killer. But there is a giant elephant in the room in that it is, I think this is probably the first time I've ever said this for Dead by Daylight. It is actually too hard to play. I don't necessarily mean for people that, have thousands and thousands of hours, but I'm saying for a community design killer, I think it is actually too hard to play. And this is a huge, huge problem for two reasons, because that means the devs are going to go through one of two different paths. So first up, describing what makes this killer so difficult. So if you have not checked out any of the PTB gameplay or videos, or hadn't, happened to get lucky and get a chance to get into the PTB yourself, it is really hard because you basically have to do trigonometry when you are shooting out your power. You have to draw a triangle and make sure that the last line of that triangle is going to bisect the survivor, but they can't be too close, so you can't shoot it directly in front of you. So you got to do this crazy shit where you turn around for a second and then whip it back into them. The survivors are very clearly able to see the beam as it's being aimed, so you can't ever really do straight shots at people because they'll just simply dodge it, unless you're in your empowered mode, because then you can kind of curve it a bit. But hitting people with this power that are competent is extremely, extremely difficult. And again, better players than me have even said this. I've watched competitive players, I've watched extremely, extremely good content creators play and say, yeah, this shit is extremely difficult. So again, for me personally, I need to make this clear. I like that. That just means I will have something to aspire to be good towards for a long time, because reaching the skill ceiling of this killer is damn near impossible. So I think that's good for me. But the elephant in the room is, it's not good for 99% of the player base. This is a killer that is made for basically nobody, and I think that is a problem. Now, people I've seen on Twitter, I've talked about this already, have said, well, I still like the idea of the killer and stuff like that. It's so cool. I can't, until you play it, you won't realize how frustratingly difficult the killer is to actually hit good players with, that it's just like, I can't, you have to feel it for yourself. You can trust me or not, whatever, that's fine. But I'm telling you right now, this is the most difficult killer in the entire game. By a pretty wide margin, too. They have never made anything this difficult to play. And I'm telling you, it is just so hard to hit good players with this shit. I finally actually went against human players yesterday, and yeah, it was significantly harder. Now again, a lot of it was because I'm just simply missing. They were positioned in such a way that I could have hit them, but it's just really hard to do that. And so here's the problem. We have a killer that the community designed that no one in the community is going to be able to actually play and do well with, so they're going to stop playing them, so the killer's not going to get played at all, basically. So what's going to happen is one of two things. The first option, the developers decide to make the killer easier to play. And that would make it so people can actually play the killer. As the community design killer, and now more than, 500 people in the entire player base can actually enjoy the killer. With that comes Crossu syndrome, where they release something that is just simply too easy to play and too strong for the ease of use of that killer. Crossu is an example of a killer that took zero brain to play. It was incredibly easy. Third person, you could just slide around loops. You didn't have to use any thought. You had auto aim on the projectile. It was brainless. That's why she was so insanely good when she first came out before the nerfs. So we want to avoid that scenario again, because then if that happens, it's probably going to get correctively over-nerfed when the kill rate is 80%, because it takes zero effort to win. So if they make this killer too easy to play, the concept of the power is scary in the sense that if it's made much, much easier, then people are just going to be shitting on people like they're, nerfs or something like that. So that is the first issue. If they make the killer too easy to play, then we have basically a new Crossu. If they decide to make it easier to play, but then also tone down the power, well, then it's not really a good killer anymore. If they make it so you can't, drag it from behind you, and so you can't hit people in front of you, that's just going to make the killer shit. So they're in this really, really bad dilemma where they can't make the killer too easy to play because the potential strength is so high that it would be completely busted if it was too easy to play. But at the same time, if they tone down the power of the killer to compensate for the ease of use, then it just becomes not a very good killer. So it's like, I truly don't know how they're going to fix this type of issue, and I wish I had some suggestions. Like, here's what I think behavior is going to do. I think they're going to do the very simple thing where they just go, okay, the active hitbox starts a lot sooner now, so now you can just hit people right in front of you or something like that. I feel like they're going to do something really silly like that that's just going to make it so there's zero skill component to the killer whatsoever. It's just basically better Pyramid Head or Artist at that point that just instantly hits you instead. I don't really know if they're going to touch the recovery, the cooldown, because as it is right now, this is actually not a zoning killer. It may seem like that sometimes, but this killer, if you play it, you can tell this is not a zoning killer because you can't just hold your power. If you hold it, it just expires. You can't do that, and you move slower while doing that unless you run a particular add-on, and if you cancel it, you're slowed down massively. You can swing pretty quickly, but your movement speed is detrimentally slowed. So even if people like run into you to try to like dodge it and then you cancel it, they're still likely going to be able to make it to the pallet. So if they make that recovery a lot faster, well, then we just have like the same annoying shit where we have zoning Pyramid Heads that just fake their power and then M1 you. So we don't want that. But then if they make that, not, if they make that like too punishing, then we just have the current situation right now where you have to basically use your power and you have to hit people with it or you're going to get absolutely zero results with it. So I still think the potential of this killer is absolutely off the charts. It's basically, like I said, Springtrap, Orbital, tool-assisted bullshit levels of insane. The problem is I don't think people are going to really ever get to that skill ceiling. There might be a couple of people, but if this was any other killer, I'd be like, fine, this is cool. They introduced a killer that's really difficult to play, and people, there's going to be a few people that are a menace, and everyone else, whenever you run into this killer, not going to be an issue whatsoever. So that could be the scenario that we're having there, because yesterday I went against one of my viewers. I played Survivor just to play against the killer, and it took him like 5 minutes to down me because it's like so telegraphed. You can just see the beam exactly, and he wasn't particularly good at the killer because no one is at this point. It's going to take forever to get there, but that's what I'm saying. In the hands of people that are not a master of this killer, it's a wet noodle. This killer is not going to do absolutely anything, so it's going to be dropped so quickly, and that's why I said it doesn't make sense, of all killers, to be this difficult to play. They made it the community design killer. I just find such a silly irony in the fact that the community has designed a killer that they cannot play. And again, I've seen people on Twitter saying this before. I know I said this earlier, but people are saying like, well, it doesn't look so bad. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I love the theme of it and stuff like that. I cannot express how much your opinion of this is going to change when you play it, when you see how difficult it actually is to play this killer. I can't overstate enough how difficult this killer is to play, especially against good players. I played against good players like in my stream, and half my games I was just getting completely shit on. I was watching other content creators that are better than me, and they were also getting shit on. And, in some other games, that they went okay and stuff like that. But the point is, this killer skill ceiling is actually fine. It's the skill floor, I think, is actually too high. But I don't want behavior to auto-correct it and make it too easy, because then we have a cross-use syndrome. So I don't know what they should do, and I can't even ask for advice from you guys because they did this weird staggered PTB thing, so most of you haven't even had a chance to play it yet, so I've got to wait till Tuesday there. But I really don't know what's going to happen with this killer, but I am worried about it. I think it would actually be worse if they made it brain dead easy to play and then kept the same potential strength, because that would just be another miserable killer, and I just don't want that. But I unfortunately don't have any better suggestions for this, so I can't even say, curious to hear what you guys think. I don't know how to end this video. Bye.